Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson, and of course with tonight is the cubby with Mrs. Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well, just getting coffee.
Yay! Delivery service is amazing. 5 stars, 5 stars.
Perfect timing, perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Got to love it. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's been a great week.
Yes. It's been a great week.
Yeah. Invisible's mommy's been down.
Do what now?
Invisible's mommy's been down.
Yes, Invisible's mommy. Yes. Hey, Brenda.
Hello, Miss Brenda. We went to Bob Evans, and I was a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hesitant.
Enamored one that they have mimosas now.
Yeah. I think I now know what you're doing every Sunday.
Well, actually, there's a bar I want to go to that has unlimited Sunday morning mimosas and a show. So I want to go do that first.
Oh, well, there is that. Oh, Brenda's listening, cooking, caramelizing onions, and roasting garlic. Fair enough.
Ooh, what are you going to make out of that? Like, what's the next stage of this recipe? We're bears. We got to cook. We got to eat. But no, Invisible Mommy's been down. It's been great hanging with her. She's one of the better mother-in-laws. She is. I've had horrible mother-in-laws.
Oh.
I've had a few that, it was a debate on who was going to die first.
Oh, well. Just say.
Well,
okay, but like with your one ex yeah.
Yeah.
That literally was a case of she should die first. Like the woman was almost 90.
And terrible.
Well,
Well,
cantankerous after 85.
Well, I get that, but Mama's Boy, really should run out around age, 70.
No, it does not.
No,
I guess cute theory, but it does not.
Yeah, and you thought I was morbid when you told me that yours had crossed, and I'm like, check mark.
Do what now?
Remember when you told me that your parents had crossed? I'm like, check mark.
Yeah, I know. That was the wild moment.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I wanted someone with dead parents. I didn't want another mother-in-law. It's like, I think that's the silent part you're not supposed to say out loud.
Yeah, I don't have medicine for that yet.
I mean, maybe start with an, oh, that's unfortunate. Check mark.
Yeah.
Pause like it's, your neighbor dies in New York. So then you check to see how much their apartment's going to list for.
Not only that, but the size, if it's bigger.
Exactly. Wait a respectable 24 hours and then put in a bid on the apartment.
Not 24, 12. It's New York. You move faster. Stop that. She has gotten to where she, nips me. I am like, you are not the dog.
Stop nipping. You've learned too much from the dog.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So in the
Oh,
news,
hey, Devin. Devin hopes
hello,
our
Devin.
star was good.
It was a lovely holiday.
And Brenda points out, they can still visit you if they want, unless you have David standing guard.
Well, David stands guard, but I also have plenty of bottles around here in case someone gets a little too huffy. And let's talk about that, because I don't know if we've told the story about why we had to renegotiate the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
His father decided to interfere from the
Well,
grave.
yeah. So my father recorded some conversations onto a cassette player. And after he had passed, I had, in my infinite wisdom, taken the digital recorder, hooked it up to a cassette player, copied everything on the tape, knowing that once it didn't have speech, it would just skip the file or not create a file. So I could quickly review and see, okay, like, was Dad getting threatened? Was like, what's going on? No, it was nothing nefarious. But anyway, flash forward, Dad, I did that. That was the last time I ever touched that old digital recorder, because this was like 2010. And so I put it in a drawer and it just kind of sat. Then we get together. And you were talking about needing a digital recorder. And I'm like, oh, well, here you go. I have one. So he puts batteries in it and realizes it's full of files and starts listening to them, and then gets a total wrong impression because apparently my father and I sound enough alike.
On the phone?
Me involved in the conversation. And what he heard was not like taken from that perspective of thinking it was me saying it, sounded really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this, we ended up breaking up. I don't know this part of it. Flash forward, we get to talking again a few months later, and he starts asking me about the recordings. And I'm like, what recordings? And he's like, you know exactly what recordings, the ones on the digital recorder. And I'm like, how the hell did I ever record on the digital? Like, I bought the digital recorder meaning to do a thing, and then I didn't really get to do what I meant to do with it. So that's why it was just sitting in a drawer. And I'm like, what did I use the stupid thing for? When was the last time I used it? And all of a sudden it hits me. And I'm like, from the grave, my father has managed to interfere in a relationship.
Yep.
So yeah, it was. I laughed hysterically. He didn't get it.
Wasn't getting it.
I'm mad about it because I'm laughing hysterically about it because I think it's hilarious.
Right.
And he's like, "What? It's not funny. What are you laughing at?" That's what I explained. From the grave, my father has managed to interfere. He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "That wasn't me." Like, the last time I used it was to mass copy a bunch of cassette tapes so I could just speed through, figure out if there was anything of value on the cassette tapes. And then I promptly put it in a drawer and let its batteries go dead.
Mm-hmm. Still. So, I've got to trim that list down to a little bit more than.
I'm not going into that. This is one of those.
Yeah, we like our stream. Let's put it this way: we like our streams. We don't want them deleted.
Well, it wasn't anything that out there. It was just inappropriate. Right. They were inappropriate conversations. We'll call it that. Nothing anyone needed to have ever heard. ever for any reason. And that's what I quickly got, thankfully, from the digital recordings is nope, not anything that we need to worry about. Speed through. Like, take a shower and chunk the digital recorder into a drawer.
Yeah. Next time,
Totally
erase
forgetting
it.
what I last did with the digital recorder.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, fuck. Like, he starts telling, because he started telling me what was on it, and it all of a sudden hit me, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, got it. Yeah, no, that's not me.
Mm-hmm. But, that's just, that was then. This is now. We've moved on.
Oh, yeah. Total misunderstanding, but hilarity that my father managed to break us up.
Right.
And had been dead for what, 6 years, 7 years at that point?
I don't know.
Well, 2010 to what, 2016, 17, somewhere in there?
17.
Yeah. So, yeah, he'd been dead for like 7 years.
Right.
Like, Jesus.
All right. So, which world leader do you want to talk about first?
Oh. Well, that narrows it down. It's certainly not the first article you sent me. Well, let's start soft.
Okay.
All right. So Pope Francis skips Good Friday procession to protect health, Vatican says. The 87-year-old skipped the event at the last minute, raising concerns about his health ahead of the busy Easter weekend. So Pope Francis did not take part in the Good Friday Way of the Cross procession at the Colosseum in Rome to, quote, conserve his health ahead of Easter, the Vatican has said. So the Pope, 87, was expected to preside over the event, but it was announced before it started that he was following the procession from his home at the Vatican. The procession reenacts Christ's passion and crucifixion, and the Pope composed the meditations that are read aloud at each station. To conserve his health in view of the vigil tomorrow and Mass on Easter Sunday, Pope Francis will follow the Via Crucis at the Colosseum this evening from the Casa Santa Marta, a statement from the Vatican press office said. The Pope had appeared in good form earlier in the day for a Good Friday liturgy in St. Peter's Basilica. He missed last year's procession due to extremely cold weather in Rome. The Pope, who had part of one lung removed as a young man, has been battling what he and the Vatican have described as a case of the flu, bronchitis, or a cold for the duration of the winter. For the last few weeks, he has occasionally asked an aide to read aloud his speeches and skipped his Palm Sunday homily, raising concerns about his health, as well as his respiratory problems. Pope Francis had a chunk of his large intestine removed in 2021 and was hospitalized twice last year, including once to remove intestinal scar tissue from previous surgeries to address diverticulitis or bulges in his intestinal wall. The decision to not attend the Good Friday procession appeared to be very last minute. Pope Francis's chair was in place on the platform where he was to preside over the rite. But 5 minutes before the official start of the procession, the Vatican press office announced on Telegram he would not be taking part, and the chair was quickly taken away. On Saturday, he is due to preside over a lengthy evening Easter vigil in St. Peter's, one of the most solemn events in the liturgical calendar. He is also due to preside over Easter Sunday Mass and deliver his Urbi et Orbi to the city and the world speech rounding up global crises and threats to humanity.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Well, but he's 87. I mean, come on.
I get that, but this is like the headliner of the year. This is like their main event.
It is, but it's also a lot for an 87-year-old.
Well, there's other popes that have done it that were older.
Okay.
He should have 80s Wheaties. But it just causes me great pause because will we see another pope?
Well, there is that. I mean, popes don't live forever.
No.
But I think this may be a move more so meant to keep him from overdoing it.
Right.
And then very quickly needing a new pope.
Right. So
like I think he's doing that step down kind of like, okay, we can't do that much anymore.
Right.
Like we're just gonna back off a little bit and we're gonna keep holding.
Well, and I hope it is, because I really don't want another pope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Benedict was bad. Sorry, I didn't like him. He had more banking problems than, someone else we don't talk about on the show.
Well, there's always that.
So I'm hoping this one holds out at least a few more years. Because that would have been a lot. Because we went through John Paul, Benedict, and now Francis. And I'm thinking there was one more.
I thought so too. I've gotten into this before. I think there is. Oh, popes in order. I like that as a search term. So yeah, from Pope Francis we go backwards to Pope Benedict, John Paul. Oh, well, no, that's the only 3 in our lifetime. Before that was John Paul I.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, John Paul II. John Paul was
the
succeeded
first.
by right.
And then Pope Paul VI was 63 to 78. So it's back a ways.
Right.
Like, yeah, the last few popes haven't lasted long. Well, and John Paul I was only for less than a year.
Right. Then
Like
John Paul II.
Yeah, from 26 August 78 until his death 33 days later.
Right.
The 33-day pope.
Right, that was John Paul I.
The Vatican had to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a very, like, there's a number of people that get selected, and it's, like, shortlisted. Right. And then they work their way down, and then they finally get to Pope John Paul I and, like, do all the things, and then he dies 33 days later.
Right.
Like,
and then they go through it all again and get John Paul. And I like it that they went from John Paul I to John Paul II.
Yeah. I think sometimes they just do that.
Right.
Just for fun.
Right. And you just relax with it and let it be. So, I wish him good spirits. I hope he has a success. I mean, this is like me, being sick on Halloween. I think that would be terrible. So,
that's fair. Yeah. Well, but on Halloween, how much do you have to do?
Depending on how much you allow me.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is compared to the Pope, like, for you, we basically prop you in a chair at a table and you're good to go for the night. That's you on Halloween, pretty much.
Yeah, again, depending on how much you allow me to do. I mean, 4 or 5 events, maybe 6 or 7.
No.
And then, a few circles here, a circle at sunrise. None of the stuff that you allow me to do. So,
no, because it's insane. That's what I'm saying. And this is a man in his late 80s. Like, no. Right. No, that's like, I'm sorry. He's hitting an age at which, slowing down makes perfect sense to me.
Right.
Like, he cannot do all this forever.
Well,
Now, is it potentially a first step towards the realization that, yes, we're probably headed towards another pope? Again, he's 87. What did you think?
no, I like the ones that live into their 90s.
He's almost there.
I know.
He is knocking on his 90s.
Yeah, we'll get him there.
Like, by average male life expectancy, he's already made it. Like,
yeah, he's supposed to be
13.
divine, so tell me how he's already made it.
He's plus 13 years over average male life expectancy.
Yeah. He must still have more work to do.
Although I will say he looks so bored in that photo.
He is so tired of their shit.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, not this again.
Like, I know this play. I've seen this play. Do we have to do this play? Can we do another one?
Yeah, is it my nap time yet?
Yeah.
Like, that's what that look screams. Can I take my nap now?
Yeah.
Like, do I actually have to watch and pretend to be interested, or can I just take a nap?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Because he's 87 years old. He became a priest in his late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure he has been to many catechisms by now, and it's like, oh God, someone hurry up and get the wood. If you hit the hammer harder, it'll go in deeper.
But yeah. I mean,
so I don't know.
Bring back we could just put him in a Pope mobile. Like, I'm sure we can drone them. Well, yeah. I'm sure we can make a Pope drone now.
Right.
Like, just put him in the little car and just run him around like a Hot Wheels.
Exactly. I think that would be cute. Get him a hoverboard. Like, that would be awesome to see him do the
hover Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Make a hover Pope.
Hey, they accuse me of riding a broomstick. They can ride one.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
I don't know who it was. It was one of our baristas that posted this meme and had a witch riding a.
That was a Roomba.
Yeah, a Roomba.
Yeah.
Give him a Roomba.
No, you don't put a Pope on a Roomba.
Yeah.
That seems weird.
Uh-huh.
Devin goes like, "Wee! I'm a Harry Potter Pope." Oh, would the Catholics not just have a meltdown?
Oh, I think they would.
Like, you're going to combine the Catholic Church and Harry Potter. Like, I say this with love. Take several seats. Like, in terms of the Catholic Church reaction is, take several seats.
Uh-huh. All right. So on to His Royal Highness King Charles. He did deliver an Easter message.
The robes would cover it.
Uh-huh.
Look, the Pope is levitating. Oh God! And next up for Pope is what is his name? The stupid magician that does all like the street magic. Yeah. We'll put up David Copperfield for Pope.
That's fine as long as they don't try to elect me.
Fair enough. That seems fair.
I've got enough duties.
This is fair.
Yep.
All right, so King Charles delivers Easter message in first public address since Kate Middleton's news.
Yes. Since Princess Catherine's news. And it was interesting. It was pre-recorded, of course, voice only, of course. Told the nation in a pre-recorded message on Monday. Anyway.
On Monday?
Yeah, Mothy Thursday ahead of Easter Sunday that we need and benefit greatly from those extended a hand of friendship to us, especially in a time of need.
Holy Thursday.
Oh.
Maundy Thursday is Holy Thursday, among other names. It's the day during Holy Week that commemorates the washing of the feet, Maundy, and Last Supper of Jesus Christ with the apostles as described in the canonical Gospels.
Okay.
Like, really, really time you had to drop that on us? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Thanks, time. Not.
Like, we learned a word.
We remembered a word we didn't like to begin with.
I'm just calling it excessive.
Yes.
It was pretentious, time. It was pretentious.
It was.
Monday, Thursday.
Like,
call it Holy Thursday. If you're gonna bring if you're gonna go there, Holy Thursday.
Right.
Anyhow.
So it was a very nice message. She even chose a passage out of the Bible that was very fitting. Talked about the welfare system and maybe some changes he'd like to see, but of course he can't really make any changes because he's just the figurehead.
Well, you can ask for changes, and it's kind of hard to argue with.
Right. And reminded him, and and added that Thursday's act of worship reminded him of his pledge to the state at the start of his coronational service, to follow Christ's example and not to serve, not to be served, but to serve, and that he had always tried to do and continue to do with his whole heart. It was a nice message, and it's good that they're hearing from him. Especially like after they've had to deal with Kate Middleton and the freaking social media there and all that bull crap.
Well, and then he is expected to attend the Buckingham Palace has announced he's expected to attend the traditional Royals Easter church service at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle on Sunday. So it looks like he's just avoiding major public events.
He's avoiding events that he has to deal with 200 people.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Like, you're undergoing cancer treatment. Like, I think we can all follow that bouncing ball.
Right.
Like, no.
Right. Yeah, he's not going to go and dance the bonfires or anything like that, which is understandable. But I do find it refreshing that they have been very upfront with both the royals that are sick. And what's expected.
They've been really upfront with Charles. They have not been all that upfront with Kate.
Well,
like, it took a while to finally get that one out. But now once that it's out, like, they've been very upfront about it.
Right. Well, in the original address about Kate, it was like, we're not making another announcement. Don't ask us about her. Leave us alone. Let us figure this out.
Yeah. And then it turned into, like, she was dead and they were covering it up. And, like, it was a whole conspiracy theory. And it's like, really?
Yeah, or she was in Monte Cristo with the children that were in school.
Yeah. Like, that sounds like a basic journalism fail.
Yeah.
Like, you can't figure that part out.
Yeah.
Like, really? That was a struggle bus for you? They're like 10, 8, and 5. How hard is it to figure out?
Yeah. Where are the children? Oh, they're in school.
Okay, so whatever's going on,
she
hasn't left with them.
Right.
Like, again, pretty simple deductive reasoning there.
You would think, but, some of the American broadcasters aren't that smart. Like the quality of news coverage we've gotten lately has been crap. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting weirded out now that it's getting into like broadcast journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Like the newspapers, I kind of understood because so many of our local papers are failing.
Right.
I mean, it's just like call it what it is. They're failing.
Well,
They've been bought
our
by
local
massive media
newspapers, I'm sorry,
companies.
I've seen better journalism out of a high school newspaper.
Right. Well, but with like your traditional local paper, they've been bought by so many large, massive companies that are basically investment groups that have
Mm-hmm.
in turn slashed and hacked their news staff
Right.
to where it's basically legal notices and sales ads that are local,
Right.
and some obituaries, and then if it's within the massive investment group company, it's all the same articles.
All right.
It's
So,
just
what do you think is the headline, the big headline for the Fayette Tribune's digital edition?
Today probably still
Today?
on the whole bridge disaster.
Nope.
No.
Living Station of the Cross presentation set. The Catholic Youth Group of St. Peter and Paul's Catholic Church will present the Living Stations of the Cross in Châtelet on Good Friday at March 29th at 2 p.m. at St. Peter and Paul's Catholic Cathedral on Orler Avenue.
Well, hooray for that. Must have been a slow
Right.
news week. I mean, again, not that I wish for death, mayhem, and destruction every day, but you got to admit, to be front page news.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many days has the bridge been blown up? That happened Tuesday?
Yeah.
Not a word. Not a word.
And probably won't be.
Right.
I mean, again, like this whole concept of local news, it's if it doesn't get picked up on the national circuit, it's not going to be picked up at all. And I think therein lies a lot of the issue is what we're now seeing in broadcast journalism is kind of the second wave
Uh-huh.
of what has happened to print journalism.
Right.
Is in terms of our local television stations, we're
right.
Like, has anyone else noticed that? Like, I've been, I think it's great to give other people opportunities and different voices, etc. I'm there for it. But like the caliber of broadcast journalism now, like your local television station, it is off a cliff.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I've caught a couple of newscasts, and I'm like, I don't even think this one's out of high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've literally had that moment. Like, I'm pretty sure he has to, like, finish his homework before he goes to air.
Right.
Like, I've had that whole moment while watching a local news broadcast and been like, this is bad.
Yeah. But no, that's the local Fayette Tribune. Okay, then we go to the Raleigh.
The lady that mistook and cared for the gray pom-pom. What? Oh, this is so bad. Woman rescues baby hedgehog, realizes it's a hat pom-pom. There was a reason it hadn't touched the cat food in its cat box. The people who called animal control on a tree beast that turned out to be a croissant finally have some competition for the strangest case of animal-related mistaken identity award. Last week, as the BBC reports, a woman arrived at the Lower Mosswood Nature Reserve and Wildlife Hospital in Cheshire, England, with what appeared to be a baby hedgehog in poor health. She'd found it on the side of the road the day before and didn't handle it at all, resident veterinarian Janet Coates said, told The Independent. She scooped it in a box with some cat food and left it alone in a warm, dark place. She did everything so well. She barely peeked at it because she didn't want to stress it out. But after a whole night with no signs of life from the hoglet, the woman determined that something must be very wrong, and she was right about that. Coates realized what the issue was as soon as she opened the box. I went back out and explained, "I'm sorry, it's just a bauble," she said. The gray spiky pom-pom had evidently fallen off someone's hat. Okay, but there's a worse story. The tree beast is a croissant. Miss Bacon identity. Mysterious beast reported in Poland turns out to be a croissant in a tree. In mid-April, a rogue pastry terrorized citizens of a neighborhood in Krakow, Poland. The incident started when a menacing brown object appeared in a tree near the home of an anonymous citizen. It remained for 2 days. The concerned woman called the Krakow Animal Welfare Society to report the unidentifiable animal on Tuesday, April 13th, saying that residents were afraid to open their windows. The team on the other end of the call struggled to identify the so-called tree beast. When they asked if it might have been a sick bird of prey, the woman responded by saying it looked more like an iguana. Suspicion among the society, a tropical reptile would survive long in Krakow's chilly spring weather, but they decided to follow up with the call anyway. Domesticated animals sometimes end up on the street after being abandoned by their owners, and the alleged iguana may have been an exotic threat. When animal welfare officers arrived at the scene, the source of panic became clear. It didn't take long for them to discover that the invader wasn't an iguana or an animal, for that matter. Locals had confused a croissant stuck in a tree for a mysterious animal on the loose.
Okay.
Oh, croissants and pom-poms, people. Croissants and pom-poms.
Yeah, but it does show a very interesting view of concern for animals.
You know, I appreciate your concern for the animals. Can we first figure out if it's an animal?
Yes. Is it one animal or two?
Maybe get someone else's opinion.
And then my question is the eye doctor not are you not receiving your eye doctor's phone calls?
Maybe you shouldn't screen your calls if you can't read the screen.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, she made my night. This was great.
I
really don't know which one's worse. I don't. The pom-pom hedgehog or the tree beast croissant.
Tree beast croissant.
Okay, so
it was more menacing.
It was very menacing in a tree.
Mm-hmm. People couldn't open their windows.
That's fair. I don't know how many times a croissant has made me afraid to open my windows. I can't even count.
There's been a few times you've been afraid to open the oven door, but that's different.
That's different.
No. Well, y'all guys remember me talking about my uncle that used to run the crane, the largest crane on the East Coast? Well, apparently they heard our show and took an idea. Take it away, Bob.
Oh, so the largest crane on the U.S. eastern seaboard has been drafted in to help clear the wreckage of Baltimore's collapsed highway bridge. The crane sits on a barge and can lift up to 1,000 tons, Maryland Governor Wes Moore said on Friday. It is one of at least 2 large cranes that will help clear the metal and concrete remains of the Francis Scott Key Bridge and the cargo ship Dolly that hit it earlier this week. Mr. Moore said the best minds in the world were working on the issue, but added, we have a very long road ahead of us. This is about the nation's economy. The port handles more cars and more farm equipment than any other port in America. The cargo ship, almost as long as the Eiffel Tower, is tall and carrying nearly 4,700 shipping containers, appears to have lost power before it struck a support pillar early on Tuesday. After it hit the pillar, it sent out a mayday call and dropped its anchors, buying time for authorities to clear the bridge of vehicles. They did not have time, however, to warn a crew of pothole-fixing construction workers who fell about 56 meters into 8 degrees Celsius water. On Wednesday, divers pulled the bodies of 2 crew members from inside a vehicle in the river, but authorities said they must clear some of the wreckage before being able to reach the bodies of 4 others. The victims were from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The ship, owned by Grace Ocean Private Limited and chartered by Danish shipping firm Maersk, was traveling from Baltimore to Sri Lanka. All but one of its 21 crew were from India, and apart from one person with minor injuries, they were unhurt. Meanwhile, authorities are also concerned about possible environmental fallout, testing water samples for contamination and monitoring the river for oil and other hazardous spills. Some 56 of the ship's containers had hazardous materials, but environmental experts are also worried about the ship's fuel container that it could rupture. Underwater barriers were built following reports from emergency workers of a sheen in the water near the site, although the Unified Command, which includes state agencies and the Coast Guard, said there was no immediate threat to the environment. The river is vital for marine life and migratory birds moving north at this time of year, especially as it flows into Chesapeake Bay. Oh, might want to hold off till summer gets going on your Maryland crab.
Well, not only that, but you might want to hold off on going on vacation to Virginia Beach.
At least right now. Just like if you have immediate plans to vacation, right, you might want to hold off on those. Like reroute.
Like, yeah, it'll be okay if you don't go there 1 year. Nobody will think anything different of you, which I've never got.
Okay.
We're in West Virginia.
Right.
Why does it seem like, and we were bringing this, I brought this up to you yesterday.
Okay.
Well, no, Monday. You're like, gosh, there's a lot of traffic on the road. And I'm like, yeah, everyone's got to head to Myrtle Beach.
Right. No, which, I mean, I had forgotten it was Easter. Like, I wasn't really thinking about spring break and Easter weekend. Like, I was thinking Easter weekend, wasn't thinking about spring break. And then you pointed out, yeah, everyone's leaving for Myrtle Beach. And it's like, oh, yeah, spring break. Yeah. Got it now. Wasn't thinking. Kind of forgot that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I just found it weird that in West Virginia, we all had out for spring break.
Pretty much, yep. Now, we do get some people who travel in.
Right.
But, yeah, which in totality makes traffic very heavy. But there is a mass exodus, and there is, like, a few people that are starting to come in.
Right. But, I just figure, I've never understood this. Can you explain this while we all must go to Myrtle Beach?
Nope. I mean, there's the single tank of gas theory.
Okay.
Is that your most popular tourist destinations for any local group are going to end up being within one tank of gas?
Then we all should be going to Columbus.
Well, but does that offer the same opportunities? Like, when you look at it, mostly we end up vacationing at Myrtle Beach and Gatlinburg.
Right.
Like, I don't know, Columbus just doesn't do it for us.
Well, there's Kings Islands up there. There's, what is it? It's Kenny Rogers' Scenic Point. There's a lovely area up there. But why even spend the whole tank of gas when you can just stay here?
No.
There's a lot here in West Virginia.
Yeah. Now, for a lot of people, it's just the opportunity to get out and not see the people they normally see.
But they all go down there.
You know, that should be part of the theory, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem to work out. Like, I think they managed to get far enough away from each other. It doesn't feel like you went to Myrtle Beach to see your neighbors.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Brenda points out it's called the Redneck Riviera for a reason.
Yeah. If someone needs to remember what the Riviera actually looks like, it ain't Myrtle Beach.
Hey, you know, that'd be useful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never quite got the love affair with Myrtle Beach either. Like, I've been, it's okay.
I've lived there, it isn't.
Fair enough. Like, doesn't really do a lot for me.
It's overpriced and underfunded.
Mm-mm.
And that's North Carolina. Then you go into the South Carolina side and you got to debate your sanity.
Well, North Carolina side, that's the Outer Banks.
Still Myrtle Beach North.
Well, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But my advice, if you are down there and you did turn her into our show, because you can't miss our show, you need to go and order a California King pizza. Their dessert pizza is delicious. Their garbage pizza is amazing. It's the best pizza I've ever had. Oh. Next to the shrimp pizza in Cincinnati.
Yeah, Brenda points out brother always did Carolina Beach instead, quieter and less tourist, but lovely. That's what I was going to point out is like the Outer Banks can be nice.
Mm-hmm.
It really does take a local to point you in the nice direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the touristy places.
No.
Or not your typical touristy places. Like, right. There's a lovely little island in the Outer Banks that it has no it has electricity, but you can't actually stay on it. Like, there's right. no accommodations. But there's a lovely museum. It's a very calm little island. There's like 4 ferries a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gorgeous. It was a wonderful experience, but without a local to have taken me there,
mm-hmm.
I would have never gone. But no, it was absolutely wonderful. I've always wanted to go back and do that one again. That's Bear Claw Island, I believe.
We can go.
It's tiny. It's a little tiny island. It's I forget what it's got a whole like military history,
mm-hmm.
like it's a strategic island, but it's it's got a kind of a bunch of memorial stuff on it. Mm-hmm. But it's a very quiet, like chilled out, very calm place to go. Yeah, it's got a lovely little beach.
Cool.
Like it's very like it is not the kind of like overrun. You're at Myrtle Beach, 200 people per square foot. Like
even better,
trying to do everything. all at the same time, right on top of each other. Like, it's not that.
You're right.
Like,
well, good. You know,
yeah.
I'm interested. You know, I like quiet beaches.
I can't remember now. Like, I gotta go look real quick because it's gonna bug me. Like, I forget what the whole. Excuse me, Bear Island. Yeah.
Steve even named it after me.
Oh, is open for day use and camping, and is accessible only by canoe, kayak, or private boat only.
Okay.
Yeah.
I call canoe. Like, we can take a canoe out.
No, I'm not taking someone who can't swim.
That's what they make a lot of flotation devices for.
Let's take you out on the ferry first, see how it goes.
Okay, if we must.
But yeah. Anyway, it's a lovely little island. It really is. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But anywho, like, but compared to like the Myrtle Beach experience, like, yeah, that's just too. Like, I had more fun at Myrtle Beach just sitting in the hotel pool. Just trying to get on the beach was a nightmare.
Exactly. Too many people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get up at 6.
And if I drift any in the water, I could end up miles away. Because I can't see.
Right. I saw that $60 Bible. What worries me is exactly how edited it is. And we got into this debate earlier with a friend of mine, talking about the 26 other copies of the Bible.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't even think they put in the effort to make an edited Bible. I think they just literally wrapped a cover and slapped his name on it. Threw it in his hands.
Well, you know, he's trying to make up money quickly, and the easiest way to do it is to separate fools from their cash.
Yeah, hawk some shit.
Yeah.
Like, and this is kind of his whole side hustle career in addition to property. His whole side hustle career, you know, Trump education, Trump steaks, Trump business courses, Trump whatever.
Ties. Which, who would want one of those ties? They look awful.
Yeah, no. We knew they were going to look awful. For Myrtle Beach, try one of the campgrounds right on the beach. Loved it. You weren't confined to a room. Oh, nice. Okay, Devin says it's hilarious and frightening at the same time. I love that. Brenda says, I love that so much better than a hotel room. No, I could potentially follow that. Because the hotels at like Myrtle are weird.
They are, of course. You know, I don't know if the one that I prefer is still open. It is. You know, we'd stay there. But it was nice.
Like, I've only been to Myrtle like I think 3-4 times. 3 times. 4 times. Sorry, I had to recount. Because there was a day trip and I didn't actually stay overnight. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't loved it. Like, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, it's our favorite time. And by the way, we're starting to do this on the on Spotify. If you guys are listening to the Spotify episode, go to the show description. You get to vote in this too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to start doing that next week. If we get follow-ups, I'll let you know if they ruled you an asshole or not. So it's time for Are You an Asshole? What are you serving us today?
All right. Am I the asshole for telling my sperm donor's parents that I have no interest in doing a good thing for them or their family? My sperm donor, or biofather if you must, walked out on my mom when she was told she was pregnant with me. Apparently, a kid was not on his wish list of things for his life, and he didn't want to be trapped at 26 with a baby. His family didn't care to stick around either. My mom did reach out a few times when I was young and was rebuffed each time. I grew up where we were not family, and I did not know these people at all. Now I'm 21, and recently I was contacted by sperm donor's parents who wanted to let me know sperm donor had died. He was married, had two very, very tiny kids who are now orphaned. Apparently, his wife died a few months before he did. His parents were now raising the children and wanted me to attend the funeral and meet the kids. I told them neither offer interested me and to not reach out to me again. They didn't listen, and they told me they had a lot of contact information for me thanks to their private investigator, so I was going to listen. They told me I had a chance to do a good thing for them because we are family, but also for two young kids who in a few years' time will need someone else to raise them because their health isn't the best. They claimed I was their grandchildren's older sister, and that was the best chance they had to have a loving family. I asked them why they believed I would want to know any of them when he was never a father to me. And they had refused to know me despite apparently wanting to know all their other grandkids because they mentioned their other grandchildren in one of the messages they sent. They started to say some BS about how I should love the kids for being half me. I blocked them on the spot and thought it would stop. But they emailed. I ignored the email. But then they called me, and it was a call that came in while I was waiting for a call. So I answered because I didn't have the number of the person who was meant to call. And they started in on the whole family thing again and how I should be thankful to have siblings now. And again, brought up how it would be a good thing for them and their family, which is when I responded that I have no interest, zero, in doing a good thing for them or their family. I ended the call and blocked the number. I got a letter saying I was turning into them and it bothered me. I don't want to be like them, but I can't say the kids of the man who abandoned me interest me either. But then I think about what I said to his parents, and I know that might be like what they told my mom about us. So, am I the asshole?
Nope, not your family.
I think that was a very low blow, and you're not the asshole. They had ample opportunity to get to know you. They had multiple opportunities there. Now that it conveniences them.
Well, actually, inconveniences them.
No, well, yeah, the children are inconveniencing them. But now that it is convenient for them to know you so they can offload their grandchildren, now they're interested.
Right.
And they're taking quite a heavy-handed approach at guilt tripping.
Correct. Like,
not the asshole. You're not responsible for your father, his life choices, or any of that. I'm sorry your father did not want to get to know you. It sounds like you're a reasonable human being. And that would have been a good thing. But unfortunately, that isn't what happened. And you don't have to write in and, make this a Mary Poppins sing-along.
Well, not only that, but what I find distressing here is they're trying to emotionally manipulate. And just now find time for their grandchild. When it's convenient and necessary for them.
Yeah. Which means that it's not actually out of any kind of regret, remorse, love,
Right.
whatever. It's simply dump the children on them.
Right.
Like, why not any of their other grandkids?
Right.
Why not any of their other children? Like, don't
Right.
these kids have aunts and uncles?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you pick the 21-year-old?
Right.
Other than you are totally being disrespectful of them and going, we'll, manipulate them into taking our burden.
Right.
Which, I mean, is a horrible thing to say about someone's grandparents, but read it a different way.
Yeah.
Read it a different way.
Honestly. Right. All right. So the poll is up. Should you, should you so choose, you can choose. You are a dill pickle. Everyone is shitty here. No, you are not the asshole, or yes, you're the asshole for refusing to become insta-parent to children that isn't yours, but are your half siblings by your father that wanted nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of a big ask, even if you were a close-knit family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially for children that are not consequentially yours.
Right.
Like, your father did things that caused him to be a parent at 26.
Right.
Whether he wanted to be or not, he became one. He
Right.
walked away from that and abandoned that. And then at every turn, his family and him were like, nope, still not interested. So to then turn around and throw that at someone, that's kind of galling.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right.
All right. So with that, let's move on over to poly advice.
All right. So polyamory says, Meta is disrespectful to me, but she's so good to my husband. Honestly, this past week has been super irritating, and I sort of just want to rant about it. My husband has been seeing this partner for almost 6 months. They're very communicative. They get along well. They have a similar sense of humor, and it seems like they make each other really happy. I love seeing him so content in another relationship. I genuinely want him to be happy, and I really support their relationship. The issue happens anytime I come into the mix. Before they started dating, she and I were cordial. We had gotten coffee a few times, and we chit-chatted and had a fun little girls' day. She wasn't anyone I ever really saw myself being best friends with, but we got along pretty well. As soon as she started dating my husband, I noticed she started talking a lot less when I was around. She would clam up mid-conversation, and if I tried to engage with her, I got pretty short answers, and eventually the conversation would fizzle out. I stupidly let that go and didn't push the issue because I wanted to be accommodating and let her adjust to the new dynamic in her own time. After a month, or about a month after she started dating my husband, she also started dating my boyfriend. That's when she stopped talking to me completely. I would get grunts in response to questions, and she won't even make eye contact with me. I brought it up to my husband and boyfriend. They both said she spoke really highly of me. She was just kind of shy and anxious, and a whole mess of other excuses why she couldn't bother to acknowledge me when we were in a room together. I eventually let it go again because, hey, I only see her a couple of times a week, and it's not for very long. Whatever, I'll cope. I made sure to always make sure she felt included in things if she was over at mine and my husband's house, and I would be sure to give her plenty of space and time with both of my partners when we were in larger group settings. I gave up my time and space with both partners multiple times because I really wanted to make her feel welcome, and I didn't want to exacerbate any negative feelings. Last week, she and my boyfriend broke up. It was pretty amicable and it seemed like it ended clean, but now she's been fairly hostile to me, and I feel like I finally have to put my foot down on the whole situation. I came home Wednesday morning from my boyfriend's house, and she had stayed over with my husband. Normally, I don't get home until she has already left, but this week I came home a bit earlier than normal. She was visibly angry, and I heard her ask my husband why I was back so early. She then stormed out without a word and slammed the door behind her. I don't feel comfortable having her continue to be outright disrespectful to me in my own home, but I also don't really feel great about telling my husband she can't be around me anymore. I'm frankly kind of burnt out on the whole situation, but all of the options feel kind of shitty to me. It's not an option for my husband to go over to her house because she still lives at home, so the amount of time they could realistically spend together would become pretty limited. I don't want to feel like I'm the cause of them not getting to see each other, but seriously, this has got to stop. My husband is going to talk to her on Monday to try and figure all of this out, but part of me, the very selfish part, is really just hoping she says she doesn't want to see me and she wants to transition to a more parallel situation. I have a feeling she's going to say she wants to do better and demonstrate basic courtesy to me, but it's just going to revert back to the same old shit. I don't know, honestly. The whole thing's been very weird, and I feel really dumb for not addressing things months ago and just giving her the benefit of the doubt.
See, they needed to stop a long, long time ago and say enough. You know,
I feel like the husband and the boyfriend were just trying to get them to not start a fight,
right?
and in turn, it's starting a fight.
Well, not only that, but I think that there's a blown up cowboy situation going on
here. Possibly, I can follow that.
Yeah, because she's upset anytime that this lady is around her partners,
and
it's like, not your department. If they have one, that's her house, lady. Get over it. You're in her grounds. And two, you're neutral in both territories. And now that you are broke up with one because apparently he wasn't going to go rushing off without her, then you need to get your act together. And I see this a lot of times. And I'm sorry, cowboying is a plague within the poly community. Not being able to be around each other metas, I think, is a red flag. You know, if you can't do that, there's an issue. And it's not with the partner, it's with the metas. And that's where you have to go, fix this yourselves. I'm going for coffee. When I come back, or with this situation, me and the boyfriend are going for coffee. When I come back, you two ladies better have something figured out.
I mean, I don't know that they're quite at that point anymore. Like, I don't think the OP and the husband's girlfriend are going to be able to amicably work through this on their own.
Right.
Like, it's gone too far.
Okay.
I think they're at a point in which I think husband's going to have a conversation and figure out if this can work anymore.
Right.
And then it becomes a situation like, and much like the comments, I'm kind of like, you're really going to have to start advocating for yourself, OP.
Right.
Because it seems like you have a habit of dating people, and maybe OP themselves are kind of the mindset that, like, whatever. Like, as long as no one's at each other's throats, it's all good.
Right.
And that's not the case here. This has been a festering wound. Like, whatever happened, whatever she thinks happened, whatever she's feeling, this has now gotten to a point it's openly hostile. Right. Even if OP isn't hostile, it's still an openly hostile situation.
Exactly. And that's where it becomes dangerous for all relationships.
Yeah. So in their whatever, as long as they're not at each other's throats, everything's good, you've bred this.
Yeah.
Like, you let this occur. So I don't know if it's just the whole, like, you're dating my boyfriend and my ex from her point of view, the other woman's, and just like you're getting hostile about that, and because you just broke up with your other boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's it, or if this has just been like a miscommunication very early on that needed to be addressed to like
Right.
put it all right.
Right.
Like someone said something to someone that was taken out of context.
Well, and that's a possibility too, but at the same time, it's like someone needs to get a jerking going on.
Yeah, Brenda, I like that's kind of where I'm with him on the cowboying is because Brenda says sounds like she was friendly to OP just to get accepted into the relationships, plus of stealing the men because she was jealous. So
Right.
yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. Like I can follow that. I just don't know that it's that deep.
I
mean,
don't
it's
think
very
it is.
possible it's that deep. Like,
I don't
no,
think it has to be that
so
deep, but I think it's very deceptive.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering if there wasn't something that was taken wrong. Like
Right.
OP said something and it was totally benign and had no meaning behind it.
Right.
But then this other woman has taken this totally wrong.
Right.
And it's created this festering wound that no one addressed. And because, she didn't bring it up, OP didn't bring it up, the husband didn't bring it up, the boyfriend didn't bring it up. It just sat there, and it's been one little stupid thing
Mm-hmm.
that has slowly become this rage point. Because
Right.
that's basically what you're hitting is a rage point.
Right. And that's when it's like, not good. Not good for any relationship. Definitely not good for a multi-layered poly relationship that just got more complicated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. And it may not have been something OP said.
It could be nothing OP said. It could have been something the boyfriend said. Something,
Or that the boyfriend and the husband have both said, and again, on an otherwise clear blue sky day, would have
Right.
been a benign, innocuous statement, but just
Right.
crawled under her skin. And it is just, and now that she's been broken up with by one of them,
Mm-hmm.
it has taken center stage and become a real, like,
Right.
I mean, because it could be something as like, well, she's just so relaxed and calm, and she's just very whatever, making it sound, talking about OP, and then made her feel like I'm just a harping nag or something, like,
Right.
and it's like, no, just like it's a benign statement, like y'all are different people.
Right.
But again, you say that in the wrong tone or hear it from two people, and you can have a what am I, chopped liver? Like, what the hell?
Right. Or, have a situation where something is an internal joke within the group, and then the new member of the group doesn't know the joke.
Right. And feels left out and hurt, and it grows attention. And I get that. And I think we all get that. And it wouldn't necessarily be a cowboy moment.
Right.
But it would definitely be a moment where it's like it started out so stupid and silly and simple. And if you just talked about it.
Right.
Like if you just sat down when this started and figured out what the hell.
Right.
But it sounds like no one, like at least between the husband, the boyfriend, and OP, none of y'all are really confrontational. You don't take on situations that are occurring. You just kind of let them go.
Right. And see, that's an issue, especially in poly. You got to at least be able to talk about problems. Maybe not going full on, I ain't cooking war, if the kitchen ain't clean, but, talk about the problems. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Yeah, like I like you just have to be able to stop and address the issue. Like, what is going on? Why are you having an issue?
Right.
Honestly, tell me why you're having an issue. We discuss it out. We work around it. We figure something out. And then we can all kind of float back to this like fun thing instead of having to like devolve into what's starting to sound a little single white female.
A very single white female.
Like this, and that's, I guess, my bigger concern here is this is a level of like out of control anger that's about to blow up. Well, and that's why I keep thinking, like, this doesn't sound like cowboying.
It does to me because she's dating both partners. Like, how smart is the community that you're dating both of my partners?
I mean, I can see it happening. Like, I don't even think it has to be a small community thing. I think some people just have a type. And if you're a person that has a type and you marry one, and then you immediately turn around and go poly, and you meet another, it's not surprising.
Right.
If someone else has a type, that they're going to be interested in the same two men you are. Or women, like however that would want to work out.
Right.
I think that's very real. Like,
okay.
I mean, it's sort of like you sit there and say, oh, you say you don't have a type about me. Like, oh, you say you don't have a type. Let's review the evidence.
Yeah.
So, okay, so my exes look a lot alike.
All of them do. All of us do. We could be confused for brothers.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Brenda's with you. She's like, I'm with Aeson. No, she wasn't doing it innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a potential innocence there that has now grown into, like, this is going to end badly.
Yeah.
And explosively. I don't know this is a really recoverable situation. I think this is going to be everyone picks sides and goes to their corners.
Well, and normally when everyone picks sides and goes to their corners, it blows up and it's done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that's where this is headed. I don't think this ends well. I doubt it's really going to negatively affect OP. Like, I'm thinking she's probably going to walk away with the husband and the boyfriend.
Right.
And the other woman is going to walk away with nothing.
A bag of stale bagels.
You know, maybe a bag of stale bagels.
Yeah.
You know, from Panera, that is not a fast food restaurant.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave the poll up there and we'll talk about this story that we were watching. And I'm like, excuse me. Granted, they're not fast.
Well, I mean, moderately.
20 minutes.
It's still reasonably fast for food.
Again, not fast food. Of course, you know, McDonald's isn't fast anymore either. That 90 seconds has really gotten them in trouble here lately.
Yeah, it's gone.
But anyhow.
Yeah.
So California has done a law, which I actually agree with. The fast food workers get $20 an hour.
Yep. They have upped the minimum wage for fast food workers. Except,
right,
in a very specific carve-out for restaurants that bake bread on premises, but do not, or that do allow you to purchase it as an individual product.
Right.
Which is Panera Bread. Like, how many restaurants could hit this anywhere?
There's like 2. And one of them is not in California.
It's like Panera Bread, Bruegger's Bagels, and like what? What else are you?
Right.
Like there's so few businesses that are like, I mean, there's probably a couple more, but still.
Right.
It's very much, you know, carving Panera out of a fast food restaurant niche. And saying, oh no, we're not fast food. We don't have to pay our workers $20 an hour.
Yeah, we have to pay them $16.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pay them that. Like, go ahead and go, you know what, that was cute, but we're going to go ahead and pay you anyhow because we value you. Because guess what? Panera Bread, you ain't going to keep staff. They're going to come to you as soon as a position comes up at Burger King, they're going to take it.
Yeah. Like, they're going to be gone quickly.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality of it, is it's the same job.
Yeah.
Is it really different? I mean, sincerely, I mean that. And if someone's worked at both fast food and Panera Bread and they want to talk about it, I'm great with that. Is it really different?
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it in the comments. You can do it on Spotify. You guys can go over there and hit the what you think about this episode and tell us. If you have worked at fast food and you have worked at a Panera Bread, is there a difference in the job? Mainly in how you're treated. That's the key emphasis.
Well, I mean, here's my whole thing. Like, walk me through it, how it's really different. Like, I understand It takes longer to make food in Panera. I get that part. It takes longer to get your food, all that. But at the end of the day, tell me how it's different. Right. Because it's not sit-down dining.
No. Which will be covered under the $20 an hour.
Which, I mean... But you're not a server. You're not, like, it doesn't necessarily divide. Like, and that's where I've always drawn the line between, like, sit-down dining and fast food. It's fast food when the person who takes my money, makes my food, and hands it to me can be the same person.
Right.
Whereas there is, in a sit-down dining restaurant, almost 0% chance of that happening. And if it doesn't have wheels, it's not a food truck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, these are pretty much your conditions there.
Right.
Not that I'm throwing off on food trucks. I've had amazing food on food trucks. I think every restaurant should start in a food truck. That'll fix your problems. Like, that turns it fast food real quick. You can make anything quickly if you make it first in a food truck.
Well, I don't know. I've been playing with this business idea, and I really think it would be cool for someone to try it.
They're basically claiming they're a bakery.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they bake bread. In the same way that, like, Chef Boyardee is a chef.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Panera Bread sends out a prepackaged product that gets baked on site. It's not much different than what Subway does with their rolls. The only difference is you can't walk into a Subway and say, "Hi, I would just like to buy the bread." As far as we know, like, I don't know, maybe Subway gets included in this, or we'll suddenly see Subway.
Nope.
No.
They're not included in this carve-out.
Well, I'm just wondering how many restaurants will start fucking baking bread and selling it separately just to claim it.
Let me give a suggestion. Low-carb, barley-free bread. You want to corner the market on this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Whether you're a fast food or a bakery or whatever, just some low-carb, like, barley-free bread, please.
Yes.
But yeah, they're trying to call themselves a bakery. And it's like, that's not really a bakery.
Right.
Like, if I'm dealing with a bakery, I specifically expect, when we're talking about a bakery, that
I can get donuts.
Start from scratch ingredients and make everything on site. Not just you turned on an oven and stuck a pre-made thing in said oven.
Right.
Like, how is
All right,
that different
run a
from
break.
Pizza Hut or Subway or you name it?
All right,
All
let's
these
run a break.
restaurants are baking a bread product.
Are you ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery and empowerment? Dive into the mystical world of Wicca with our courses guided by Lord Aeson Knight. Unveil Wicca's secrets, explore fundamental principles, and delve into essential topics like deity relationships and the purpose of rituals. Aeson Knight, a third-degree high priest, shares his wisdom through life coaching lessons, guiding you towards a brighter future. Step into the inner circle of enlightenment. Enroll today to embark on a journey toward a more empowered you. Click the link to take your first step into the magical circle.
Ready to join the Psychic Coffee Shop Network? By becoming our patron, you'll unlock exclusive content from Aeson Knight, host of the Psychic Coffee Shop podcast and co-host of the Mountain Bears podcast, alongside the tech-savvy Techie Joe. Choose from subscription options ranging from Tall $1, Grande $5, to Venti $10 per month, supporting us in covering production costs and beyond. Depending on your subscription level, enjoy discounts on private readings, free access to classes and special events, behind-the-scenes extras, and the chance to participate in station meetings. Plus, you'll get early access to new content and the opportunity to shape future topics. We'll acknowledge your support in the credits of our videos. Don't wait. Brew some magic and join us today as a valued member. Link in the show description.
All right, we're back. What got me even more worrisome about the article that we were listening to about on this is they're using the same sourdough starter that is now 13 years old.
Yeah. Well, their original sourdough starter. Like, all the bread's the same. That's why we know it's a prepackaged product.
Right.
Like, it's heat and serve.
Yeah.
You know, it's... Well, and then the argument I made is it's like calling McDonald's a coffee shop because of McCafe drinks.
Right.
It's like, bitch, you are not a fucking barista.
No.
Like, you are not a barista. You made a pot of coffee. Okay? Like, you did not operate an espresso machine.
Right.
Like, no. You have no talent or transferable skills with being towards being a barista. You made coffee and added chocolate and whipped cream to it. This is not the same job. Starbucks and McDonald's, no one is confusing.
Right. No, plus, you didn't research topics and send in topics you want us to talk about. So you are not a barista there either.
Well, there you go. You know, there's that. But no, I mean, it just... it kills me.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is not a bakery. It's what you classified yourself as and said, oh, we're a bakery. We bake bread on site and we sell it individually. Which is true. You can walk into a Panera and buy fresh-made bagels. Fresh-made or fresh-baked bagels.
Right.
Prepared bagels. But it's fundamentally the same product. It comes from one location.
Mm-hmm.
It is shipped to them ready to go.
Right.
Like, you're not... they didn't make anything.
Right.
So you don't have... And fundamentally, that starts to get into the skilled labor question.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been an ugly black eye for fast food service, is this whole unskilled labor concept. So it's ironic that now that we're trying to bump salary or bump wages up for quote unquote unskilled labor, we're now trying to come in and look at Panera claiming that they are skilled labor, because that's what a baker is. Like, I'm sorry, if you don't think your baker, like a normal baker, is skilled labor, you are mistaken, because that's a whole set of skills you have to learn. Like, Panera has a mass machined product. but then they're trying to turn around and claim it like, well, we're an exception because we're actually skilled. But then simultaneously saying, but we don't have to up our employees' wages.
Right.
What?
Like, that don't make sense.
Like, if you were already paying your employees $20 an hour, I could almost see, or more than $20 an hour even, I could see the argument and be like, we're not fast food. But at that point, you would have no horse in the race. Why would you care?
Right.
We're already paying our employees 20, 21, 22, 25, whatever an hour. So why would we care?
Right. And then it's like, what the hell? You know, and it's kind of like we got Starbucks coming in. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about having a local Starbucks.
Yes.
You know, but Starbucks is like, I think it was Seattle that tried to make them raise their wages, and they were like, you are aware most of our employees make more than that, plus benefits. Yeah. Why can't we get more companies like that?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you'd think it wouldn't be that hard. You know what I mean? Like, we have companies setting record profits.
Uh-huh.
Why is it so hard to pay your employees
a decent wage?
Why does this traumatize you? You know what I mean? It's not even like we're looking at companies that are struggling to stay alive.
Right.
And just like, oh my God, we're teetering on the brink. And then saying you need to raise your wages. You know what I mean? Like, that I can understand a company being like, oh, there's many problems as I already have. I cannot raise wages right now. We're broke.
Right. But, you know,
paying dividends and doing stock buybacks and having the best years on record and major profit inflows, upping their prices all across the menu, and then turn to their employees like, nope.
Well, see, and then what I also don't get is why we have companies that are shooting for 35 employees, 40 employees for one place. Why? You don't need that many. You can't
minimum
do
hours.
Full-time employment.
Yeah. No, minimum hours. They don't want full-time employees. They become insurance liable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to give them all the benefits of full-time employment at the point in which they work full-time hours. They don't want full-time employees. Walmart specifically pioneered the employment through the social safety net.
Right.
And literally working their employees at an hour range that kept them eligible, like waged and houred, eligible for the entire cornucopia of social welfare. Like, here's your child care credit, here's your, you name it, whatever social program your state offers. They will even bring in and help you file the paperwork.
Right.
While working you a minimum number of hours and a minimum wage. To make your employment codependent on state resources.
Right, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, that's not employment.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a part-time job. That's a gig for a high school teenager.
Right.
When you're not supposed to have full-time employment and you have reasonable adults taking care of you.
Or supposed to be taking care of you.
Right. But this is what we're doing. Employment-wise. Is we are finding every way possible to not pay people as employees. We do it with Uber and Lyft. We do it with DoorDash. We do it with Grubhub. We do it with, Fiverr. we do it all across the board. And then we kind of all look around like, I don't understand why this is not working.
Right.
Well, okay, that's because you're getting exploited.
Right.
Like you're not working as a W-2 wage earner, and if you are working as a W-2 wage earner, you're being treated financially like a child
Right.
and held there. Like, I understand if you're 15, you should not be working 40 hours a week. That's stupid.
Well, in the state of West Virginia, you can now.
Well, you can now, which, again, more stupidity. But if you're 15 years old, you are in class for, what is that, 8 hours a day already,
Right.
and you're going to work for another 8?
Mm-hmm.
Like, make that make sense to me. Like, it's for a 15-year-old.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no. When are you doing, extracurricular activities? When are you getting enough sleep?
Nope.
Because we know that teenagers need more than 8 hours. When are you hanging out with friends? When are you developing,
What friends?
hobbies and talents and abilities? When are you studying? When are you reading? How are you getting this all done? Because the idea that you're doing 8 hours in a classroom followed by 8 hours of work, there's only 8 more hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those are you supposed to eat up doing homework? Like, just forget. You are an antisocial troll of a teenager who works really well.
Right.
Like pretend these things that would be mutually exclusive can coexist. So you're an antisocial troll.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you do really well in a unskilled labor job. So you work 8 hours a week plus your 8 hours of school.
Mm-hmm. You do
And
16s on Saturday. You do a 16 on Sunday.
So there's your 32.
Right.
Which, again, should be illegal. I mean, it's bad enough when adults do this.
Mm-hmm.
What teenager? What teenager?
Well, they've made that
16 hours.
Right. Well, they've made that legal in the state of West Virginia. At age 14, you can work 32 hours now.
Mm-hmm. Which is the new full-time requirement.
Right.
Which was, again, trying to address the Walmart work 'em 38.
Right.
Because we used to consider 40 full-time employment. So
right.
Walmart would sit there and ride you just under full-time and just keep you at this perfect level. So now we've had to drop it to 32 hours a week, trying to get people over the hump so they can get benefits and all the normal employee things, just to have the companies drop it even lower. So now they ride you under the 32 so that you don't get it, which is worse.
Right.
Painfully worse. That was supposed to fix it so that, hire the employees you need, hire full-time employees. This is part of your social contract. Like, why the fuck do you think we gave you sweetheart deals to move into our neighborhood? Because Walmart is like, they will whore themselves out to a town or city government or county commission for all kinds of infrastructure improvements, reduced water rates, cut taxes, cut B&O, to get in the door, and expects this. They show up expecting, what are you offering? Like, what's your inducement? And it's why a lot of cities have gotten to the point, fuck Walmart.
Right.
We are not getting into this hostage negotiation. Because what Walmart will do is you give them the inducement to come in, like, okay, we're not going to charge you B&O. We're going to give you cheap water. We'll make infrastructure improvements. We'll do all these things for you because we think we're getting full-time jobs for our economy.
Right.
You don't. And this is what many cities have figured out. And then what happens is, so you set this up for a period of time, for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Walmart comes in, they pour their concrete, they put up their giant, massive building. And the minute you try to turn off the inducement and go, okay, you got your relocation package, and it's time for that to end, we need to make our money. You've made your money, you got a good start, you recouped your costs and did all the things. Now it's time for us to collect the taxes and collect the B&O and collect the do the thing. Walmart goes, oh yeah, about that, we're moving down the road.
Yeah.
To the next city that'll offer us a different sweetheart deal.
All right.
They go to that city, they pour another slab of concrete, put up another metal building. Meanwhile, the previous city gets left with a slab of concrete and a giant metal building and a humongous parking lot
that nobody wants.
That no one wants. They can't sell it. And it just sits there and rots.
All right.
Because there's only a finite number of businesses as big as Walmart that can take over that kind of retail space.
Right.
There's not a ton of them. There's no clamor for this property.
Right.
And they keep doing it. They'll just keep moving.
And meanwhile, they isolate.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, they've ripped the Main Street businesses out. Your mechanic's gone, your bakery's gone, your grocery store's gone, or it's teetering on the edge.
Right.
Ready to go over at any moment. Your optician's gone from town. You just list them out. Clothing business gone, office supply gone, salon gone. That's what typically happens when Walmart moves in, especially small town and rural areas, is they undercut every business in the area to the point they can't exist.
Right.
Then when they leave, that's it.
Right.
So long, folks. Thanks for your money. We're 10 miles this way.
Mm-hmm.
And next year we'll be 10 more miles that way.
Right.
And that's the whole, there's no investment in these communities.
Right. And they also do things like getting towns to annex areas. Like the one where our Walmart is, that used to not be the town of Fayetteville. That was Fayette County.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's part of the town of Fayetteville.
Yeah, now the line between Oak Hill and Fayetteville is right on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it would have been Oak Hill, a brief pause, Fayetteville.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, let's see if you voted him an asshole this week.
And hopefully not for my hatred of Walmart. And the sad part is we're going to go to one after the show.
Right, because we have no other choice.
We have no choice.
And the answer to that, our live audience has voted you not the asshole.
Yay, I'm not the asshole.
But there's a second Are You the Asshole vote occurring on your Spotify. So click down there in the link and interact. Don't forget to do the likey, the subscribey, all that so you get all our notifications.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, guys. So this week's going to be a very busy week. And we've got Psychic Saturday between 1 and 7. You can still get your appointments in. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to be doing the energy overview.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We are. And then we'll be back for Psychic That Plans on Sunday at 8 p.m.
Yep, and we'll be doing the monthly setup of the Psychic Planner.
Yes. So
Yes.
full weekend.
Yes, great. I love it. So with that, guys, you have a magical evening, and I'll be seeing you later.
Hey, let me thank our baristas. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. You guys, bye.
Bye.